Dun, 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 dun. Cue intro screen, which we don't have. Yeah, this is where like a cool like graphic would come in and like maybe this over here. How do I do this? This would like build together. Maybe I can figure that out.
Sounds frightening.
It is. Well, no, we've just begun. It's gonna get frightening.
Oh no, dude.
Did you write my name backwards? Does this say Ecalb? Ecalb. Thanks, Ellie.
You gotta get some people who know how to spell around here.
What the hell happened here? That's very strange. Adam,
How you doing?
my motherfucking man.
How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm pretty freaking good, dude. I have to say. You know, I got no complaints. Everything's okay. I'm alive. I got 2 beautiful cats. I got a nice home. I got a beautiful family. What do I got to complain about, right?
You got cats. That's what you can complain about. Cats shitting in a box in the corner of your house.
That's right.
You're into it.
I'm into it, dude. I'm kind of into it.
You
know?
I think cats are amazing creatures.
You're an anti-cat person.
I'm not anti-cat.
Okay.
Okay.
By the way you said, oh, cats. just you saying, oh, cats, I could know you hate cats.
No, I'm not anti-cat. I'm anti-litter box. I'm anti-litter box cat paws on my counters.
What's wrong with the litter box when you really think about it?
Well, you know what it is I had a cat when I was a single 20-something guy. And I was not responsible with the kitty litter cleanup, right? I also had a dog, which I still have, which you can hear in the background. I also had a dog, which you would be lying on the floor watching TV or playing a video game, and Carolina, God rest her soul, would come up and give you big kisses after she had just snacked in the litter box.
Wait, the dog?
The dog would eat cat shit and then come lick your face. And you're like, at first, you're like, oh, hey, Carolina. Oh. And she'd have all these crunchies in her lips.
Oh, no.
So,
That'll scar you for
I was
life.
also not good at laundry, still not good at laundry. And the cat would then pee all over my clothes. Okay.
I had that issue.
So I've known you for a while now, and I have to give you credit. You've never smelled like cat pee.
That's right.
That's
right.
impressive, man.
That is right.
Whether they're peeing on your clothes and you're washing it, or they're not peeing on your clothes, you've
I'll
got
be
something
fair,
figured out.
It happened like 3 times, and it's when I leave my shit on the floor for a minute,
Yep.
and the litter box upstairs is not clean, then
Yep.
she'll piss on that shit.
Then she's gonna piss on your
But
clothes.
you know what I have? Since I'm lazy, just like you, I have the litter robot.
Wait, this machine that when it just like
it looks like a fucking pod, and they go in there and they do their shit, and then it just like scoops it for you, and you just change out the bag liner once a week.
Okay, all right. That's, in the 20th century, 21st century,
Right.
21st, in this new world that we live in with cat shit robots,
Yeah.
maybe I can be a bit more of a cat person.
The future is now, Blake.
The future is now, and thank God, because cat litter sucks.
It does.
I've said for years, when I have property, when I have like land where the cats can be indoor, outdoor, or outdoor cats, I'd like to have several. Because to me, it's like owning a pet lion. They're fucking badass. They kill shit. They bring it to you as
Yeah,
gifts.
they do.
Climb trees.
They really do, yeah.
A dear friend of mine had like 5 indoor, outdoor cats. And you'd go outside
Probably
and it
bring
would
them
like
lizards.
look at you. And it would run to the tree and like climb up the tree and look at you. And it was fucking awesome,
Yeah.
But in a 3rd-story condo, I can't. It'll be several years down the road. And maybe I'll get one of those, what are they called? The serval? African serval?
The serval's a thing.
They're like a huge cat that was
Like a big cat.
like a big cat.
Or
that
like
was
a lynx.
like a lynx, like a pet. What about a bobcat? Does anybody have pet bobcats? Oh,
Yeah,
Joe
crazy
Exotic.
people.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah, insane people.
Yeah, I think I would have that, but I want some land.
That
for
sounds
it to,
insane.
Yeah, life is about balance.
I never got that people want to have these animals like live with them or in their backyards that could just like kill them in a second if they wanted to.
Not only that, but what is it with the big cat people that are like have all these orgies? I'm serious. Did you watch Tiger King?
Yeah.
You didn't realize the underlying thing in all of that was, what is it called when you have multiple
I had
wives?
Suspicions. Oh, polygamy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doc, whatever. What's his name?
Oh, dude, that guy's banging everybody.
I know, yeah.
He's
got a
now-
whole town full of wives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all hot. And
Yeah.
he pays for all of their breast augmentations.
Yeah.
But there's a
He hooks them up.
There's a new series on the Tiger King where he's the focus. And
That's what I want to watch.
apparently he's a total nut job.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He like forced these women to get their boobs done.
Yeah, he's just as, if not more, nutty than fucking Joe Exotic.
That's what Joe Exotic said from prison. He's like, "Oh, you guys think I'm bad?
Yeah.
You got to learn about this
Doc
this dude,
Antle.
Doc Antle."
Yeah.
I follow his son on Instagram, and he's always swimming in these ponds that look like you're gonna get some sort of like brain-eating amoeba from it with tigers.
Said amoeba.
I only know about that because it happened in Charlotte. There's this place called the U.S. National Whitewater Center where you could it was like man-made rapids, and you could take a kayak or whatever, and this fucking poor lady gets flipped out of her kayak and water gets forced up her nose, right?
Okay.
2 days later, she's dead from a brain-eating amoeba. And the only reason it was able to eat her brain was because it was forced up her nose
Fuck.
from the water. This is a story.
It's like a little microscopic John thing.
Yes.
What?
Microscopic brain eating. And I think brain eating is part of the technical name of the animal. It's not just something it does. Like, that's what it's called, a brain eating amoeba.
That's what it's born to do, is eat brains.
I've met women like that.
So have I.
Yeah.
So have I. Surprised me.
Yeah. It's like the, what's the other animal that rips your head off after sex?
Spiders.
No.
What do you mean?
Praying mantis.
Yeah.
Praying mantis. It fucks you and then rips your
Yeah.
fucking head off. Again, I've met women like this.
Me too.
That's why
I
when
dated them.
Really?
Yeah. Do
Well-
you know who my ex is?
I don't know if we should bring it up. She's
nah.
probably watching.
I don't.
I don't
care.
know if I do know. Let's not mention any names.
No names.
But when I met my wife, I immediately realized she was not a praying mantis, and I'm like, "Fucking marry me." You know, when it's just like
That's what I'm saying. You found one that isn't.
Yes.
And you kept. Got to hold on to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we got married pretty quick. We got married like 1 year to the day that we met. But and I was 33. 32 at the time. People are like, that's really fast to get married. It's like, dude, I've dated a lot.
Yeah.
And I learned what I didn't want.
How many
And,
shitty relationships have you been
how much time do we have?
in? Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're not all shitty. They just always
know.
seem to end shitty.
Have you ever? But my question: have you ever been in like a really a traumatic one, like a fucked up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I dated somebody who was like terrifying when they drank.
Really?
Terrifying. Like battered. I'm like a battered man.
Wow.
Was.
Right.
You know? Well, here's the other thing that's fucked up for anybody who I dated after that is like the red flag thing. Like I would see a small hint of a certain behavior.
You get hypersensitive to like certain behaviors.
Oh yeah, I see that, and I'm like, oh, I know where this leads.
Cut and run.
I'm fucking out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out. You
But
know?
there's kind of that perspective is kind of driven by that past experience with that with that toxic
well, it's
person.
like PTSD almost.
Yeah.
You know, but it's also survival instinct, right?
That's what I've been dealing with. Same exact thing. It's funny you bring that up.
Do me a favor, just right up in the center of the
Yeah.
mic. You can move this all around however you want. I can move it, and what if I just move it back and forth and you just dance the whole time?
I mean, that could work.
This is good. Speaking
that?
of dancing, I saw your fucking doppelganger the other night.
You did.
I did. Dude, it was incredible.
I didn't think he was still around. He hasn't surfaced in many years. But,
So you knew who this person was.
I do.
So I get to Grandview Market for our friend Allegra is doing her watch party for American Idol, and this dude's on the saxophone. And obviously I know you play saxophone, but before I even see him on the saxophone, I see his face. And I'm like, oh, it's fucking Adam, right? And then he grabs the saxophone. I'm like, dude, this is fucking awesome. So when he gets done with his little set, I like beeline towards him, and I get close, and it was almost like I was looking at your evil twin. I'm like, oh, that's not Adam. So I took a picture and I sent it to you. I'm like, dude, is this your fucking brother? Like, I would imagine it's your younger brother. You both play sax. And your immediate response was hilarious. You're like, yo, what the fuck? Because like we were saying a second ago, people say to you all the time, like,
Right.
oh my God, I know somebody who you look like.
And every time it's off. You're like, what the fuck?
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
But when you know somebody and you see them and you're like, That does look like
It's
me.
weird.
Well, what is that doppelganger thing?
And he plays the saxophone. It's like, what are the odds? And he wears glasses. He looks just fucking like. It's very strange.
So, and the strangest part is that you're both in this area. It'd be another
Yeah.
thing if you lived in another part of the
Yeah.
world, right? Because these parallel universes and string theory and all that, maybe they say that you have infinite versions of yourself.
Yeah.
But the fact you guys are from the same fucking town or
I
live in the
know.
same town, he's not as badass as you, though.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
You're
You know, I
welcome.
just realized when I met him like 4 years ago, he had the man bun. And
Okay.
fucking so did I.
No.
And now he doesn't have it. Now I don't have it. I just
Dude.
realized that we both had a man bun like 4 years ago.
Dude, there's something there. There's something that's happening.
There is something happening
Um,
for sure.
But anyway, respect to the guy. His name's
Yeah.
P. Monty or Monty.
Shout out P. Monty. We love you.
Yeah, super talented
it.
dude. He was
a
like
beast, dude.
climbing up on
He
shit.
rips.
Yeah, it was insane.
Like when I saw him at Funky Buddha all those years ago, like it was like not much of a production, like real, kind of raw, but he puts on a fucking show. He puts on a real show.
Well, no offense, but the saxophone, it can be sexy, but it's not like a guitar. It's not like rock star guitar. He had
Right.
this way of making it like a fucking guitar. Like he was
Yeah.
climbing up on shit and jumping off of tables. It was
Keeping
just
your attention.
It was it was really cool. But it was also he did a good job of it not being like too much. He like danced on the line of like
That's the key, is knowing when to bring it back a
yeah,
little bit.
he was doing that. He would dial it back, and
Yeah,
then he would bring
reel
it
it
out.
in, yeah.
And then he did this cool thing where he had a mic on that's called the bell of the saxophone, right? He had a mic on that, and he would grab the mic from the bell and then shout out into it, like, make some noise for Allegra in the mic of his bell, on
funny,
his
that's funny.
saxophone. It was very cool, dude.
Yeah.
Very cool. So,
cool.
I usually like to start these with stories about cats and litter boxes. When I don't start with litter boxes and cat shit, I like to start with, who are you and what do you do?
Yes, hello. My name is Adam Marshall.
Hello, Adam Marshall.
I'm originally from New York. I moved to Florida about 6 years ago. Been here ever since. What do I do? I work at a treatment center for teenage boys who are struggling with mental health and addiction. I've been there for about 2.5 years. Yeah, it's called Family First. I love it. It's tough. It fucking sucks sometimes. But it's purpose. I guess the right word would be rewarding, but it's like every other job I worked before that, I've done delis, restaurants, fucking retail, all this stuff. And I always have good work ethic, so I do well, but at the end of the day, it always felt completely meaningless, completely purposeless, and that would slowly just degrade on me while I was there, you know what I mean? And this does not have that, so.
You say it's rough. Is that
yeah.
is it
It can be rough. 100%.
is it like your empathy that seeing what these young kids are going through that just it's hard to not take it home with you?
Yeah. That kind of sums it up. I mean, being an empath in this field is a huge advantage and a huge disadvantage if you don't know how to keep it in check, right?
Yeah.
So from being there for so long and also just the way I am, I've learned how to easily detach. The key is like connecting very strongly and then detaching, right? Which can be really fucking tough.
Yeah,
right? Because you get attached,
yeah.
right? And so now I'm kind of at the point where I keep myself in check and I do not get attached to any of these kids. I connect with them. I speak with them, have great, interactions with them, but I will not let myself get to the point of attachment.
Of love.
Right. But
Mm.
I pick and choose. Right. So I do have a few kids who are alumni now. They're doing well, who I will have like a real, like a friendship, love relationship, like a real, like a real relationship, not just you're my client, you know.
I my wife and I have talked a lot about adoption. We have this place in our heart that just feels like at some point there'll be, you know, a soul that'll be a part of our family, or multiple that will have come from some sort of, harrowing background. And I've talked about doing the Big Brother Big Sister program with her.
Mhm.
But in those conversations, it's often said that I want to adopt them all,
Mhm.
because I feel like I would not be able to not take it home. I could imagine,
Why not?
just because I'm such a sap,
Mhm.
and I'm such like a sucker for sweet, innocent kids.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, me too. Me too.
so I commend you because I can imagine it's very challenging,
Yeah.
and how lucky these young guys are to have somebody like yourself, an intellectual, an empath.
Yeah.
What is your like daily operations like? What do you do with these young guys?
So I started as a CA, which is a counselor's assistant. It's the same as a BHT, if anyone knows what that is, tech, behavioral health technician.
Okay.
Every treatment center has them. Just some of them call them techs. We call them CAs, and they're basically just the people who are around 24/7. Has like rotating shifts, just making sure the kids aren't fucking burning the house down, doing anything crazy. They're going to school, doing what they need to do. So I started as that, did that for probably a year and a half. Got moved to case manager. Um, which is kind of a tough job to explain because they do so much, but it's basically they do. So you have the clinical team, right? And the case manager is the main like logistics person between the clinical team, the client, and their family. So they're in contact with all the parents. They're setting up all their appointments, any other extra stuff they need, all that kind of logistical stuff. That was a lot. That was very stressful. Um, it was a fucking. It was that job was really tough
Because these kids are relying on you to make sure all their shit stays
It's-
in order.
because it's not just the kids; it's their
Ah,
parents.
yes.
It's
I'm
the
sorry.
clinical team. You know what I mean? So, like, you have these parents who, like I had 12 clients, so it's
Sorry.
roughly like 24 parents who have my direct line. I'm the only one at the treatment center who they have my direct cell phone number. Um, and they're gonna hit you up on the weekends, at night, whenever. So it's kind of like you're sort of on call. And a lot of these parents are just as, if not more, fucked up than their kids are. I'll tell you that as a fact.
Well, I'm sure that's like, the stem of a lot of the issues.
Or it's 100% the stem of the issues. And so that to me is my favorite thing about our treatment center, is that we require the parents and the family to do their own work,
Right.
right? Because we know that if we send a kid back to the same environment, the same family system, they're just going to go right back to what they were doing, right? So we make sure, like, before bringing in the client, we make sure the parents are willing to do their own work, right? And we have the family therapist who works with them individually, they make their own treatment plan. They have to go to support groups, this and that. So
Now, how do these kids find you? How do they find this place? Is this because they got in trouble and it
you
was
asking
like court ordered?
why do they end up there? How do they find?
Yeah, like
Okay.
is it like I got in trouble as a teen, and I would have to do like whether it would be community service, or I would have to go to like a therapeutic session. Where How do these kids come into this situation where they come across you? It's not a court ordered thing, or it can
Sometimes.
be. Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah, sometimes it's a court order thing. Most of the time, it's just these kids are really not functioning as a person. Their parents are not having it anymore. And they've tried everything. They've tried therapists, they've tried psychiatrists, they tried this, they tried that, exhausted all the options, and residential treatment is usually like the last stop. It's like nothing is helping this kid. I don't know how to fucking help this kid.
And
We're
the
gonna reach
school
out to you.
the school suggests it. They Google it.
Yeah, we're online, but we have the family ambassadors, which are people who they don't really work at the treat. They're kind of outreach.
Okay.
Right. So they tour a bunch of the other treatment centers that will refer to us. They are in contact with a bunch of families and therapists. And so they kind of network that way. And we have a ton of people who refer to us. A lot of times, like if someone calls another adolescent treatment center and they don't have any room, they might refer, check out family first,
And when you say residential, this is an inpatient. They live in this facility.
Mm-hmm. There's a slight difference between, because there's levels of care, it's a slight difference between inpatient and residential.
Okay.
Whereas inpatient would be more of like a hospital situation, and residential is more of like I'm just living in a house with a bunch of guys type thing.
And
Yeah.
is it it's not co-ed?
No,
Yeah, absolutely not. Right.
that'd be a disaster. That'd be hilarious. Holy shit.
That
You
would-
imagine that?
Right.
When I went to treatment, it was co-ed, and I got in trouble for some fuck shit.
Oh, interesting. So
Can I tell
you
that
went
story?
through a similar program.
Yep. Yeah. I came down to Florida because I was sent to treatment in 2016. Yeah.
Wow.
man. Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of mental health stuff. I was severely depressed since I was in 6th grade probably. I used to self-harm, and then I had a suicide attempt. And then I was away at college, got into Xanax, got a DUI. Got charged with possession of a stolen item, which is not in my possession, and criminal trespass. I was I was literally charged with a crime I didn't commit. That's another story. But yeah, man, I went through my own journey.
And that's how you ended up where you are now?
I guess so. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Do you
I mean,
have
that's
training?
how I ended up in
school?
Florida,
Did you go to
and-
college for something like this?
Yeah. And so I have my bachelor's in social work,
Okay.
which I actually just finished.
Congratulations, dude.
Thank you,
It's a
man.
huge accomplishment.
Thank you. I actually just finally got that over the summer. So I can get paid a little bit more. It's nice, and I have flexibility, but I still have to go to grad school, get my MSW, because I want to be a legitimate therapist. But there are other avenues. You know what I mean? Like I have this BSW, and I can get my CAC certification, and I can just work with kids, just as basically act as a therapist. Just get paid a little bit less.
Yeah, well,
because I
think
don't have
about-
those letters next to my name.
Think about the upper hand, if that's the right term. Good night, y'all. Thank you. Think of, like, there's people who probably go to school for
Right.
all these years and they get all this training and then they come out and they have no hands-on experience.
Right.
And you are in the trenches right now, to really, so as you progress your education, you just kind of, you've got the best of both worlds.
Right. Yeah, I
Um,
mean, education is important, but the stuff I learned in school has nothing on the stuff I've learned working there for as long as I
Yeah,
have,
I couldn't imagine.
Absolutely.
Well, what you're doing is so important, at all different ages. Mental health is such a challenge in this world, and there's so many different variables,
These kids have it so fucking rough, man.
Yeah.
So rough. Imagine you in high school. I'm sure you were a little fucked up like I was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get hit with a friggin' pandemic and you can't see your friends. You can't go to school. You're stuck in the house with your parents for a year.
I didn't even think
I would
about
have
the
would have killed
pandemic.
myself. Like,
Yeah. I didn't even think about the pandemic and how that's affected what you're doing.
yeah. Yeah, man.
I don't know if I've told you this, but I lost my brother in 2016.
Wow. I'm
Now
really sorry.
he
I'm
was
sorry to hear
he
that.
would thank you. He was a grown man at this point, and he was in the army. He did 2 terms in Baghdad, the original invasion or
Right.
original when we went into Baghdad, and he came back. He was stationed in El Paso, Texas. Right, he's got a toddler and an infant. His wife is in the army, and she gets sent to Afghanistan. So now he has 2 under 3, something like that. And he's on 24-hour shifts, 24 hours on, 24 hours off. He keeps falling asleep at the end of his shift, like on post.
Yeah.
The Army diagnoses him with narcolepsy, which he doesn't. He wasn't narcoleptic.
Right.
He was fucking exhausted.
You're not supposed to be up for 24 hours.
Right, especially after war and with two
Yeah.
small kids. So they give him jugs of liquid GHB.
What?
Jugs this big to go to
They
sleep.
give him GHB
Yeah.
for narcolepsy?
Well, what they did is they gave him GHB to go to sleep.
The Army gave him GHB?
Yeah.
Okay,
And Adderall
sorry.
to stay awake. No, that's okay.
They gave him both of those.
Both prescribed,
They gave him GHB to go to sleep.
and Adderall to stay awake. So basically, they wanted to turn him into a machine. Here, take this to go to sleep.
If you diagnose someone with narcolepsy, why the fuck would you give them GHB?
It's
ridiculous.
I never understood it. I was too young to really wrap my head around it. When he came to visit me one time, and he was acting a way I'd never seen before, and it was the GHB, I'm sure. And he showed me. He's like, dude, look at this. They just gave me this full jug.
Wow.
I still have half of this one left.
That shit's dangerous. Like
It was-
I remember in high school some kids had GHB, right? And usually in a water bottle, and the dose would be a water bottle
full,
cap.
a cap full.
Right.
Yeah, and this is the date rape drug,
Yeah.
right?
Just serious shit.
Yeah.
GHB will fucking put you out.
And he had jugs of it. So, short story very long, he ended up addicted to this stuff.
Wow.
He gets busted out of the Army in El Paso, Texas, and now can't get his medicine and ends up on heroin and meth.
Wow.
Right? My brother's a Bronze Star recipient, right? War hero.
Wow.
Saved his commanding officer's life and his whole platoon's life in Iraq. And now he's in El Paso, Texas. He gets arrested for stealing from Walmart and goes to jail for like a week, 10 days. I go to El Paso to meet him outside of the jail when he comes out and try to convince him to let us put him in a treatment program. He declines, and then about 6 months later, he gets bottom, and agrees to go to this treatment program. In Southern California. It was like a Scientology based treatment program.
How old is he?
He was at that point in time 30, 29, and he
It
went.
was Scientology based?
Yeah.
Was it advertised that way?
I believe so. All the books they read were that L. Ron Hubbard.
Really?
Very interesting. I went and visited him there at
Probably
this.
not open anymore.
I don't know. I know that he
Interesting.
did so well in that program
He did.
that very well, and that they hired him as a counselor. They sent him to Colorado. He got in trouble. He let one of the people use his cell phone to
Okay.
contact a boyfriend or girlfriend,
Okay.
and he actually got let go from the program.
Wow.
He moved in with my dad in North Carolina, and he started going to community college using his GI Bill.
Okay.
And he's 2 years sober. He's actually started a meme factory, and he had very dark humor, right? So, but him and his friends were like just pumping out these memes. And he got to the point a week before he passed that he showed me his meme had 16 million impressions. His stuff was going viral, right? One night I get a call from my dad, and my dad's doing business in Vegas or something, and he said Mark's dead. And my initial thought is like he got in a car accident because he had been sober.
Right.
And I saw him like 4 or 5 days a week. I'd see
Yeah.
him. He's fine.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, he was found with a box of needles there, one syringe missing, the receipt from the box of needles that he had purchased that day, no drugs around, fully clothed, like full rigor mortis. This is a little morbid,
Wait,
but
sorry. So it's just a box of needles.
like he had bought syringes,
Right, so it's just a
hypodermic needles,
box of empty syringes.
empty syringes that he had purchased, I guess. There's a
Okay.
lot of questions around
Right,
what
right,
happened.
right.
I don't really.
Yeah.
But
trying to
so
get a
what we
picture.
realized, what we think is that he scored some dope from somebody at college
Okay.
and just wanted to get high one last time, or one, just he had a weak moment, and it was fentanyl. It was fentanyl in his system, and it killed him. 33 years old, man. So this is kind of far removed from what you're doing because you're dealing with
really.
teenagers, but that's
It's not far removed at all.
that's the the worst case scenario. So your intervention, I guess what I'm getting at, is just so invaluable, and it's probably a thankless job, and I'm not in a position to give the thanks, but the best I can, man. Thanks for what you're doing for these kids,
I appreciate
dude.
that.
And I'm sure you lose yourself in it sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's just really, really valuable stuff, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
That's why I'm so passionate about kratom. I personally, I started drinking kratom, and I want to talk to you about this because I know that you're in treatment, or you work in treatment, and
Right.
I know that there's kind of a hard line there, which I
There's a big
respect.
stigma.
I respect it, right? Because it's like abstinence is abstinence.
Right.
But when I stumbled across kratom 4 years ago, and realized what it was, this thing that kind of like hit your opioid receptors, it's all natural. I had this sad feeling that, holy shit, if my brother would have known that there was a natural substance he could have used
Right.
instead of heroin, I think he'd still be alive. I mean, he'd probably be using kratom all the time, but he didn't want to die. He had a weak moment, and he went to what he had known in his past. So that's my thoughts were when we got into this.
Never even considered that. It's a great point. Like I've been in this. Since I've moved to Florida. I know I can't even count how many, people I've been close to have died. You know what I mean? And I've never even considered that. Like, and it's all because they're just picking up dope, which is all this fucking bullshit fentanyl that's on the street, especially here in South Florida. It's horrible. And it's a non-lethal option.
Yeah, right. Which is that I think it's called harm reduction.
Right.
So our thoughts were with opening this bar, we want to build community. We want to, create a home away from home for people and promote the arts and stuff. And then if we could also, help somebody who's having a weak moment. I've had people come here who were like trying to quit doing opiates, and I'm like, dude, you don't have to pay. If you're having a rough time and you just don't do the drugs, come see me. Obviously you should be abstinent, but if you're not going to be abstinent,
right,
come see me, or us, my wife and I, and no charge.
Right. And how is that worse than, someone getting Subutex from the doctor? Or Suboxone.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around about how it's worse. To do kratom,
because it isn't.
It's a natural. It's literally. I could show you our bags of kratom. It's crushed. It's leaves from a tree, dried. We brew it into a tea, and then we flavor it with like lemon juice. And it helps people take the edge off. I personally quit drinking alcohol. I mean, I still, celebratory, and I regret it every frickin' time.
Right.
But now that I drink kratom, I'm just kind of disinterested in alcohol. And the bar gives us that social thing that I really loved about the bars.
Right.
So what I wanted to, and I appreciate you saying that it does make sense, but I wanted to learn a bit more about like kind of the other side of like the hard no on kratom. And I hope I'm not like prying too much, but I'm interested to hear kind of what the theology is. And I think I get it, but maybe your input would help me.
Well, what's your idea?
Well, I think that if somebody is battling with addiction and they're in a program to teach them coping skills on how to not use substance, then using something that hits your opioid receptors is cheating. And that I understand. I get it, I just think that I wish it was less of a black and white.
Right. And an addict's mentality is black and white, all or nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been that person. Every other addict I know has always been go big or go home. Just as a base general mentality, right? And so and a lot of that, like what you're talking about, the stigma comes from the AA guys, the big book thumpers, the hardcore AA guys, which I respect like incredibly.
Yeah, same. I do as well.
Yeah,
I grew up in an AA meeting.
Okay.
Like my mom, I was raised by a single mom.
Really?
Grew up in AA.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to cut you off, but I'll tell you another story in a second.
So you know the thing. So AA works. It works incredibly, right? We have all the stats, you know, but it is pretty black and white. You know, it's 110% abstinence. You know, some people are real hardcore with it. Like, you know, if you're prescribed ADHD medication like Adderall or Vyvanse, you know, I take Vyvanse. I had someone say, "Oh, you're not sober." You know, so it is the program of A is pretty black and white. You know, and one thing that I don't really like about it is that, let's say someone has been sober for 6 years, right? And they're at a party and they have a weak moment and they take a hit of a joint, right? And they go back the next day, they get back on the horse, they get going, right? The program of AA would say that guy needs to pick up a white chip now.
That's
Right? Back to zero.
Yeah.
So you have 0 days sober now, right?
Yeah.
Where to me that's a slip, right? And one of the program that I really cling to in recovery was actually called Smart Recovery. And this program actually differentiates between a lapse and a relapse. Where what I just described would be a lapse, where if he just started smoking every day, would be a relapse.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and because I think that there's also, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna throw out that, that there's also the other point of recovery is that in an addict's mind, if they use any mind-altering substance just once, it kind of triggers that thing a little bit, you know. But people are different, man.
Yes.
And like everybody's different, right? And to me, you make your own recovery, right? So if you're not lying to yourself, if you're being honest with yourself, you know whether or not you're sober.
Right.
Right? Like I take Vyvanse and I, you know, my meds and shit and, you know, and CBD and all this stuff. And, you know, some people might say I'm not sober, but I know at the bottom of my heart that I am. You know what I mean?
Right. You're not, you know, chasing the dragon, if that's not
right.
if that's the right term.
Right.
You know, and then people are different. Like I had a friend who I met in a kava bar, and I met him. He was like just so full of life. This guy was like, the way I met him is I saw him across the bar and he was just loud and he was holding court, you know, and I'm like, who is this guy? You know, and literally that's what I said to him when I first introduced myself. I'm like, who are you? Exactly. And he introduced himself and we hit it off. We hung out at the kava bar a few times and then he disappeared for 2 weeks. And I called him a few times, no answer. And I wonder what happened to this dude, you know? And he came in, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up, man? You good?" He's like, "Man, I one thing I didn't tell you was, you know, I battle with demons, and I've spent the past 2 weeks, you know, on a full bender. You know, when I came to in the hood with my shirt off." With a fistful of cash and realized like, holy shit, I can get killed here, you know? And he called his dad and he got into some treatment and whatnot. My wife and I were opening a gym at the time, a rowing studio.
Right.
So I told him, listen, man, fitness is going to help you. It can be like a way to kind of put your mind at something else. So he started taking classes with us, got in incredible shape, right? He relapsed again. And at this point,
how long was he working out with you guys?
6 months.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh man, he was like, and he was
killing it.
He was killing it. I can show you a picture. I wish I had it close by. Sober and just ripped and in incredible shape and just like kind of at the peak, you know. And then he fell off and he went into a program and he did 90 days in a program. And I talked to him on the phone and he sounded great. It was once I talked to him on the phone and didn't sound so great. I'm like, oh, I hear something there. So he called me the day he got back. I'm back. And I'm sober. I'm better than ever. I said, dude, we just finished building the bar, which he helped me hang all the TVs in here. I mean, this is like one of my best friends. in the short time that we knew each other. So I went and picked him up. I said, dude, you're back. Come hang out at the bar. This is your new home. You know, we start fresh. He came here, and what he said to me was like, they finally got me on the right medication. And I realized what I was doing is I was self-medicating. And they put him on Xanax right out of recovery. So we go to Walmart, and
that was my thing. That's what got me in trouble.
And he says as we're going into Walmart, oh, I feel a little anxiety. And he reaches in his backpack, and he pulls out a bottle, and he pops his Xanax. And I'm like, oh, that's not good. So he comes here. He then tells me he wants to go see a friend. And I'm like, dude, I'm not really okay with that, but you're a grown man. Do what you want. He hangs out for a while. He leaves. This is the last time I see my friend. Didn't talk to him for 2 months. I'm like, man, let me see what he's up to. Call him. Phone's off. Literally a week later, I get a text. Did you hear about, and for the respect of his family, I'm not going to say his name. Did you hear about, such and such? And I said, no, ...
Fuck.
He overdosed.
Fuck.
And I responded, and died? Yes. So, I guess the point that I'm making there is that people are different, and he had kratom at his fingertips. You know, he had like an alternative, but it's not what he wanted.
Because when you're in it, you're fucking in it. You know what I mean? Like when you, for addicts, when you go out, you're out, right? And you're looking for the next best thing constantly. You're always looking to kind of up the ante, because after a while, things stop doing it for you. You know, if he's got all these demons, right? And if you want to run away from those, you want to avoid those, and you got a ton of demons, you need some powerful shit to get away from that shit, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's fucked up. You know, I completely relate. One of my friends who I grew up with, last time I saw him, he was doing great, and then I found on Facebook,
like you saw
that
a
he
post
passed
like
away.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what?
Yeah. And then the next day, actually, one of my other friends called me and told me, and I was like, I already found out. But.
People like that, I think, are angels. I think he was an angel on earth, a living angel. The way he commanded a room and would just light everybody up in the best way possible, and then to be taken from us so early and abruptly. I look to the sky and talk to him often, and I am thankful that I have somebody like that, up there with the big guy or however you think about it, looking over us. But it's
right.
like, too many of our young friends were losing. The 2 nights before I got the news about him, I was at another kava bar, and this guy comes in, throws his bags on the bar, and said, nobody had ever seen him before. Said, I just got kicked out of my halfway house. Give me the strongest thing you got. Okay. And goes in the bathroom and doesn't come back out. They have to kick the door open.
Wait, so he ordered something.
Yep.
And took that in the bathroom?
Nope.
Oh, I see. Okay,
nope.
okay.
Sorry. Let me clarify that. I need the strongest thing you got, and I'm going to drink it when I come out of the bathroom.
Right. Okay.
So then goes in the bathroom, and 15 minutes. And it was my wife who's like, somebody needs to go check on him. They ripped the door open. He's on the floor. He had, I guess, shot up in the bathroom. And literally, these brave people who were at the bar, I mean, a young lady who I know well, immediately started giving him CPR. And then they had to give him 4 Narcan.
Fuck. That's the fucking shit on this fucking street down here in South Florida. It's ridiculous. The shit what people buy, it's not like little baggies of heroin anymore. They buy caps. What everyone buys in the street is called caps. And in this little capsule is always carfentanil. There's always at least a little bit of carfentanil. And the ones who have a little bit, and the ones who have a lot of bit, or even just like a milligram, too much, it'll fucking take you out. That shit is so goddamn dangerous.
And it's a pharmaceutical, is it not?
Right. So fentanyl, actual fentanyl is a pharmaceutical. They used it in hospitals. They have like patches and lollipops and shit like that.
Yep.
And it's 10 times stronger than heroin. When you do it, 6 hours later, you're withdrawing, even if you do it for the first time. It's powerful as fuck. But what they're selling on the street is much cheaper and just as powerful.
Synthetic.
It's synthetic carfentanil.
Okay.
Instead of regular fentanyl, it's carfentanil.
And they're making it like in labs in Mexico.
Labs in China or wherever.
China.
You know?
I did hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
It's fucking scary, dude. Did you hear about the comedians in California? Four comedians, fairly well-known comedians. I heard this on Rogan. They were his buddies or friends of friends. They're out partying, drinking. They get a bag of blow to do while they're drinking. 3 of them are dead. It's fentanyl in the cocaine.
Are they big comedians?
I don't. I can. We can look it up.
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
Sadly,
That's
I'm
fine.
not set up to look
That's
things
fine,
up.
that's fine, that's fine.
But they're
That's
probably
crazy,
like up and comers in California at the comedy store and whatnot.
Yeah.
But 3 of them died,
Wow.
and they got cocaine.
Wait, he did it too?
No,
I
no,
see.
no.
I
The
see, I
4th
see, I
one
see, I see.
lived.
Okay.
It was in like critical condition in the hospital.
Fuck.
But and then you think about that. Like that's not even. You weren't even trying to get heroin. You
Listen, you're buying powder on the street.
Yes.
You do have to be like, just don't fucking do it. Just don't do it.
Yes.
Just don't do it. It's not worth the risk. It's really not worth the risk.
It's almost like you wonder what the percentage is, but the percentage, odds are so high that it's going to be, fentanyl, and it's like people are like, oh no, I know my guy.
Yeah,
my guy,
yeah.
My
Everyone
guy.
says that.
It's like,
Literally everyone says that. You're buying powder on the street, you do not know what it is. I don't care how well you know your guy, because how the fuck does he know?
yeah,
They have test kits out there? No.
no, they don't have test kits.
No.
These people aren't, but that,
Most people don't.
kudos to the companies that have made these and the kids that are doing that or the people who are doing that. But it's like, if you have to test this thing to
Right.
see if it has something in
Is
it,
it worth the fucking risk? What are you even risking it for? You know?
euphoria.
Yeah.
And it's like,
And for the record, I get it, because I was, I've been at a point where I would have done anything in front of me. If someone put fucking heroin in front of me, I would have done that shit 100%.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, addicts, when you get in that mode where just being alive, just living is so fucking painful, you need to avoid that shit. It's, you get reckless. You don't, like, I was literally at the point I didn't, I wanted to die. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
Well, you seem like such like a blessed spirit. We haven't known
you,
each other
dude.
that long,
I appreciate that.
but you have a similar energy that I talked about my friend. Like when you come in, when I see you out and about, you light up a room, man. You hold court, and you kind of make every situation you're in a brighter situation. And it sounds like that was a journey to get to that point. What kind of tools do you use to keep yourself grounded or not going down that self-loathing path?
I stay busy. I help others. That helps a lot. Honestly, my job helps a lot. Just because when you're helping someone, when like in recovery, when you're helping someone, you're helping yourself at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So that helps a lot. And just my little friggin' maintenance program, dude. Like, when I wake up every morning, I do a little yoga, and then I add a breath work to it, which totally changed the game.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Breath work's sick. So I do that. I pray. Jiu-jitsu
Really?
helped me a lot. Yeah.
I didn't know you do jujitsu.
I do, yeah.
No
Jiu-jitsu
shit.
helped me a lot because I've always done contacts. When I was a junior in high school, I weighed 250 pounds. I was a defensive lineman.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that surprises everybody.
Really?
Yeah, I was a big fucking kid. I was always chubby growing up, but I started working out and fucking eating like insane and fucking put on a bunch of weight for football my junior year. And that was when I just quit wrestling to just do football because they were like, the seasons were right next to each other. I should
Yeah.
have quit football and did it because I was okay at football, but I was actually good at wrestling. But yeah, I found jiu-jitsu in recovery, and I'll tell you, therapy doesn't have anything on jujitsu and how it does, what it does for my anxiety, right? I'm the kind of person, and you seem like it too. Like, I barely ever show anger. I may feel it, but I won't show it,
Yeah,
right?
same.
Because I even won't let myself feel it sometimes, right? Because however we're programmed as a child, it's just too threatening, right? For whatever reason, it's too threatening to allow ourselves to feel that anger, right? So I need other paths to get it out, or I'll fucking explode. You know what I mean? Like people like me who aren't, if someone disrespects them, isn't gonna scream and yell and freak out, you know what I mean? Or sometimes just take some shit, and especially at work, I gotta take a lot of shit. If I just hold that in and never let it out in any kind of way, I'm gonna fucking self-destruct. I'm gonna explode. So having like controlled violence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Having just like I
Controlled
can leave it
struggle.
all on the mat. I can just fucking get all my shit out. You know what I mean? Just leave it all on the mat.
I've heard that about jujitsu and about martial arts and just about fitness in general. And the theory I've heard is that as humans, a survival tool is looking for things that are wrong, right? Because we used to have to look for lions or tigers, or and now that we live in this existence that's fairly safe,
Right.
and it's pretty easy. Yeah, we try to find problems in
create them.
everything.
Yeah.
So if you take control of that and you create your own struggle, physical, when you come out of that, it gives you this peace and this strength that if you're controlling the struggles that you go through and that physical struggle, then the other stuff seems so much less terrifying. And this is a theory I've heard. I'm sadly out of exercising. We owned a gym. I was in incredible shape when I met my wife. Then I got married and fat and happy. Hopefully that she's into dad bods.
Yeah.
But I need to get back into it. I just, I got to create the discipline to do it, because I have these moments where it's like my anxiety is, and it's from I can't pinpoint it. Just have this like bubbling angst,
Yeah.
and it comes with like, I'm a husband now, and I have a business with my wife, and there's like a lot, and people who work here who rely on me, and the people who come here who rely on me. It's like, it's fucking stressful, so I know I need to get back active. Do you have like a belt, like a colored belt in jiu-jitsu? I don't want to call you out.
How you calling me out? I'm a 4-stripe white.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I don't even have the belt, dude. I don't even have the white
Have you
belt.
tried it?
No, I haven't.
Dude.
I need to.
You'd probably love it.
Yeah, I'm sure I would.
Yeah.
I'm
What do
sure I would.
you do to deal with your stress and shit? I mean, do you talk to people, right?
Yeah.
Do you talk to people other than your wife about your issues, deep shit that's bothering you?
Not really. I used to. What I did for 15 years was I made rap music.
Yeah.
And I would tell my story through rap, and I had the best journal a guy could ever ask for, because as people were listening to my journal, they would tell me, this is fucking awesome,
Wow.
or I could tell a story. Like I have this song Believe, and it talks about thoughts of suicide. I say
wow.
I have a line that says, I'm lying with this shoddy shotgun laying next to my bed, wondering what the barrel would feel like pressed to my head. Like, would it even hurt? Would I even hear the burst, the pain, or the release? Which would come first? So I was able to get these thoughts out in a constructive and productive way.
Creative way. Yeah.
Creative way.
Beautiful creative outlet.
But, I treated music like a drug, where I would lose jobs because I was up all night making music. I had myself convinced in order to be creative, I needed to live this party lifestyle. Like 2016, after my brother passed away, I essentially wrote an entire album from 3 a.m. until 10 a.m. with 15 people in my house at an after party from the bar. Everybody would come back to my house, and everybody's partying, and I'm at the computer in the living room writing music.
Wow.
And this album that nobody's ever heard is fucking fantastic. But I got to the point where I was 140 pounds. I was throwing up everything I ate. I would get to work. I was a bartender. They served food there. I would get there. I'd eat 3 chicken wings, get situated, drink a beer, have a shot, drink a beer, and then said, I need some blow. And I would do that. And then I would throw up the 3 chicken wings.
Yeah.
And this went on for about 6 months. And I got to a point where I knew it was actually friends there in Charlotte who were telling me, you got to get the fuck out of here, man. So I packed up my recording studio and I made a vow to myself that I would not bring it back out until I had my priorities straight. And I haven't written or recorded a song since.
Well, from your story, I can tell that, you know, you were maybe at a point where you had less control over your impulses,
Yes.
right?
No,
And so-
zero control.
Right. And, you know, you're like, not just, you know, you got laid off from jobs and just, you know, put the music before everything, but, you know, drinking and doing a little coke, stuff like that. So I've been there too, and I even feel myself starting to get there. It's like, you know, it sucks when you're at the point where whatever impulse comes up, you yield to it, you know?
Yeah.
You know, just no power to kind of resist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like I'm at the point where I have my impulses under
Right.
control. I know that now. And I've been blessed with this business here. It seems like all these talented people just walk through the door. And now I'm surrounded by music again, you know? And I think it's the universe like rewarding me for doing the work, getting
That's
my
right.
shit together, being, you know, a good husband and a good business owner and a good friend. And now the things that bring me so much joy literally showed up on my doorstep, you know, which when it was happening, when I started to see these musicians coming here and doing jam sessions, you know, after hours, I'm like, man, you know, this is wild. It's like full circle. Here I am in this business, and, you know, I just think we have this phrase that we say in our family, and it's called next right thing. Just
yeah.
do the next right thing. And I've been living by that now for the past 4 or 5 years, steadfast. And I thank God, I knock on wood, it seems to be working. It's not always easy to do, but you know, you kind of once you find that standard that you know works for you, and then you just like hold yourself to that standard, you know? This podcast is also is now my new creative release. You know?
Course. This is an incredible outlet.
Yeah. And it's like what you were saying about helping people. Not that I'm helping anybody, but it's the conversation and learning about other people and having the interpersonal communication.
My favorite thing.
Yeah, me too. And it's like when I leave after these podcasts, I'm on a high, dude. I get these endorphins from like these amazing stories that people share. And, you know, I've been blessed that this is episode 26, I think, that we've done. And it's just like all of the stories are people overcoming challenges and living their life to their fullest, you know? And it's inspiring, dude. It's inspiring.
And you are helping people 100%.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I
Like
hope
you said,
so.
because, you know, you're interviewing people who have stories of going through darkness, getting through it to see the light, you know? And there's a podcast that I listen to. It's similar to that, the Honeydew, which helped me a lot, you know? I mean, same thing with AA. You go to AA, you hear, you know, a speaker tell his story that helps people, you know? It lets you know you're not alone. And if they could do it, you could do it. If I could do it, you could do it. I'm no better than fucking anyone else. You know,
the not alone thing is so important.
Yeah.
You know, we're such social creatures, and we thrive off the energy of people around us.
Yeah.
You know, good or bad. You know,
Right,
sometimes,
exactly.
you know, my dad would tell me all the time, you know, you are the company
You are
you
who
keep,
you hang out.
buddy.
You
And
are
I'm
who you
like,
hang
what do you
out with,
mean? These are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, they're a little fucked up, but they're my friends, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But I finally realized, and it's no offense to all of the amazing people who I've known in my life and who have impacted me in positive ways, but I was too intertwined with other people's, lack of care about what their future was going to be, And now I've started by like isolating very small myself, my wife, my family, and now I've been able to slowly build back a circle of friends and community that people are focused on making tomorrow more badass than today, And it's a fucking blessing,
Right.
dude.
Making
Blessing.
tomorrow more badass than today. I fucking love that.
That's good. Yeah, I like that too. That's a good t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I would love is if you could bless us
Oh,
with a
should we
little
break it out?
jammy jam.
Should get this going.
Yeah.
Jazz it up a little bit.
Before
Give you a little
before
taste
we
of jazz.
start, so you have a saxophone here. It's hidden off camera. You guys will see it in a second. Music for you. Where did this start? Has it always been saxophone? Are you multifaceted musician?
So when I was like 2 or 3, my mom had me, my brother, and my sister start violin lessons. So all 3 of us did violin. And then when I was in 3rd grade, my dad actually showed me a Sonny Rollins album, who's an incredible saxophonist. And I just fell in love. And, fate would have it that in 3rd grade, in my school, they brought in a bunch of instruments and let people blow on them when one of them was a sax. And I was like, all right, I'm in. And so since 3rd grade, I've just been playing kind of on and off, but yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
let's hear what you got, man.
Yeah.
So best case scenario, you're kind of gonna be in the same position where you're at, but get comfortable, and then I'll put the mic where it needs to be. For those of you who are listening and not watching, we're just getting him set up with getting Adam set up with his saxophone and moving the mic around and whatnot. Please hold. Most importantly, you're comfortable and in a position that works for you. What's up, Gary? Buddy Gary downstairs. Gary, I know you'll watch this later. What's up? Shout out, Gary.
All right. I don't know. No, I'm not gonna play any crowd pleaser songs. I'm gonna go real jazz with it. I'm gonna start us off with one of my favorite jazz standards. It's called "In a Sentimental Mood." Get a little wild at the end there.
Beautiful, dude.
Thank you.
Who does that? Who's that song by?
In a Sentimental Mood. That's originally by Duke Ellington.
Well done, sir. Do you have another? While you play, I'm just going to take this dog downstairs. Please play. Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you guys. Awesome, bro. Awesome. So what song here we're going to put the sax down and then give him the mic back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dude, that was fantastic, man.
Thank you. You know, everybody asked me to play Careless Whispers. I refuse.
See, I'm so like it's very Greek to me. Careless Whispers, is that it's a popular jazz song?
Yeah. So there's like a super popular video called The Sexy Sax Man. And he just went around playing this George Michael song called Careless Whispers.
Ah.
It goes, yep.
Dude, that was very good. So here,
Thank
I'll
you.
adjust your mic for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Man, that's fucking good. You know, I was a lyricist, singer, or like rapper, songwriter. It's the instrumentation. Instruments have always been a challenge for me. Like you asked me, do I play guitar? We have guitars everywhere in here. And it's like, I'm trying to learn guitar, but it just escapes me. Now, do you read music? I take
I can
it.
read music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just it's a skill that I hold to such high regard, man. And
I hold to high regard rappers because I can never fucking. I've wrote a couple raps in high school. They were like whatever, but you know, especially freestyling, like I can't. That's super impressive to me.
yeah, I've never been a good like freestyler. I get like 4 bars in and I lose it. That being said, like I put down the pen and pad years ago out of necessity because I couldn't. I was always blind. I never had glasses, and I would have to go into the booth, which was like low lighting, which was my friend's closet, you know, and I couldn't read my lyrics. So I realized I had to have my verse memorized before I got into the booth. So before instead of writing it down, I would just like say the first line that came to me and then start over and repeat it, add the next line. So it's kind of like they call it free verse. It's a similar way to like what Jay-Z does or Lil Wayne.
You mean you freestyle each verse?
I freestyle each line.
I see.
So if you play a beat and I come up, I like hear the first line, I'm like, oh, that's cool. All right, start the beat over.
Okay.
Then I would say that line, and then whatever next line kind of fumbled out, I'm like, oh, okay, that one's cool. All right, start it over. And then I would build it line by line. And then by the time I had all 16 bars, I had done it so many times because I'm repeating from the
Okay, I
beginning
see.
each time. And now I've got it memorized, and I can go into the booth and rap it without having to read it. But freestyling, like you said, have you heard of this guy, Harry Mack?
Harry Mack, he's a beast.
Holy
Isn't that shit so fucking impressive?
Oh my gosh.
Like that shit blows my mind.
Yeah, I saw him. It had to have been 6 years ago
Really?
when he was in Venice. Just like it was like a meme video where it was like guy raps about everything he sees on the street. And not long ago, he was on Ellen.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
He just did Ellen.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, she's holding up cue cards, and he's just
going off.
Yeah,
Spitting.
he also does this thing now with like chat roulette or whatever.
Yeah, Omegle or whatever.
Yes.
Those are the videos I watch when he like does people on that.
Yeah, he's like, give me 5 words,
Yeah.
and watching their
reaction. Yeah.
is very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Well, you know, music is just so powerful. Now, is that something you use when you have these
Yeah.
dark
sometimes.
times? Yeah.
Oh, music, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, you know, I brought when I went into treatment, I brought my saxophone with me and I played constantly.
Yeah.
And of course, there was a great guitar player there who I would jam with. It was awesome.
Yeah, we just the other night after Allegra's thing, all the bands came back here, and we
man.
had 15 instruments. I mean, my friend has a cello. He brought his cello. Then Gary, my buddy who's downstairs, comes in. Mind you, it's 2:30 in the morning, and he sees them all sitting in a circle jamming. He's like, "Can I get my bass?" I'm like, yeah, is it in the
Yes.
car? He's like, no, I live around the corner. I'm like, sure. He came back in a minute and a half with a full bass cabinet and his fretless bass.
Okay.
Yeah, he brought an electric bass cabinet, and it was like,
Yes.
it's a relic. But it's just the way music brings people together is amazing. Amazing.
It's soothing to the soul, dude.
Yeah, I
And
wonder what that is.
it's the same thing as, you know, like you said, you know, getting it all out through writing raps or expressing your emotions through art, painting. You know, I think just it's true expression. You know what I mean? Like you can express your emotions through the music, through the art, and it's, you know, it's soothing. It's soothing to the soul. You know.
And the part about it bringing us all together too, there's like that, like the whole not alone thing. I mean, music festivals are the biggest thing in the world right now. You know, it started with Woodstock, but now like our friends just went to Okeechobee Fest,
I heard about that.
and it's like, you know, tens of thousands of people all there listening to all different types of music. It's all love. You know, a lot of times you get 10,000 people together and it's not good. And I guess
Right.
that also depends on the type of music playing. Like, you know, that thing that happened at that Travis Scott concert was just, you know, horrendous.
Travis Scott fans.
Well, he's got a new documentary out. Have you
Really?
seen that?
No.
Dude, it's wild. I think it's on Netflix or Amazon or Hulu, one of the above. And it shows before this concert that he did, it shows like his rise to that. And even 5 years ago, 4 years ago, they were pulling people out of his shows then. It was like, it's kind of par for the course for his crowd. And then when they come to, they're like, that was the night of my life. Like this one kid literally says, dude, I almost died tonight.
Yeah.
He was
yeah.
like stoked about it,
Yeah.
you know? I guess to each their own.
Yeah, I mean, that you know, that point I sort of get because I grew up going to a bunch of metal concerts.
Oh yeah.
And I love a fucking good mosh pit.
Oh man.
You know, it's the same thing as jujitsu. It's controlled violence. You're in a fucking mosh pit going nuts, and then you walk away. And in those mosh pits, there's like etiquette. If someone falls, they pick them up right away. You know, nobody's decking each other in the face. You know, at least the ones I went to. You know?
Yeah, interesting. I never thought about the controlled violence in the mosh. The mosh pit always just terrifies me.
Really?
You know? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it entices me.
I
fucking love.
Friends
mosh
would tell
pits.
me about the mosh pit, and it's like, no, that's not for me.
I love it.
But I went to Respectable Street to a metal night not long ago because our friend's band was playing, and I see the camaraderie that happens in the pit. Like they're throwing these fists around, spinning kicks, all this. Guy gets knocked over, buddy picks him up.
Right away.
Yeah, and they just get after it again.
Right away.
And it's just like you said, it's that controlled chaos or that controlled violence.
Control chaos.
Yeah.
That's like my life in a nutshell. Controlled chaos.
Yeah. Well, mine's flipping more to the control and less to the chaos, which is nice. You know, we're
that's
getting
true.
to be old men now.
I know.
Well, Adam, this has been outstanding, man.
Absolutely.
You know, I've said it before. Sometimes I get nervous before these. I'm like, oh, what are we
Yeah.
going to talk about? But it always, especially when I get nervous, they always just turn out to be fantastic conversations. And this has been the same, man. It's been great to get to know you better and hear your story. What you're doing with these young men is so incredible.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for having me on here. I'm so glad you started this because you are literally the perfect person to be talking to people because you're a beautiful soul, dude. 100%.
Thank you, Adam.
100%. I can tell you're empathic. I can tell you connect with people like right away. You know, you're an open book. It's the perfect person to be interviewing people and be spreading a message of health and overcoming, you know, horrible things, overcoming trauma, overcoming mental health, all these things, you know. I think this podcast is going to help a lot of people, 100%.
That just means the world to me, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I hope we can continue this conversation in the future.
Absolutely.
You know, this is your home as much as it is ours, and let's get you back on in a couple months.
That'd be awesome, dude.
Here's
I'd
some
love
new
it.
jams.
Hell yeah.
Adam, thank you so much.
Thank
Listen,
you,
if
buddy.
people want to learn more about you, or if they have a family member who's struggling, can we direct them to a social media or
Yeah.
an email address or something where they
We
can
can
reach
do
out?
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. We can do @adsmarshall, ADSMARSHALL.
Okay. at Ads Marshall. You heard it here, guys. Adam's here for you. We're here for you. If you like what you heard tonight and you want to hear more, please like, comment, subscribe. And we will see you next time live from Hakuna. Appreciate y'all. Boolah. Thanks, dude. That was awesome.